Hello and welcome to my thoughts on Friends Forever 26, 27, 28, and 30. Sorry 29, we'll get back to you later. I just really wanted to do 30, and then I wanted to do 26. It's just like, well, guess we're also doing 27 and 28 here. Alright, anyway, 26. So, our story starts off at the Crystal Empire, and Twilight is helping Shining Armor get ready for a trip to Yakistan for diplomacy. But Shining Armor's all like, gee golly gosh, I don't know what diplomacy is. Thank God Cadance is gonna be there to do everything. But then dun dun dun, Cadance can't go. But just when Shining Armor thinks he's gonna have to go it alone, like an angel descending from the heavens, we are graced with blue blood, hell yes! This is the reason I wanted to read this comic, baby. After reading Deviations, I just needed more blue blood in my life. I honestly didn't expect to find any more, but right here, lo and behold, issue 26 of Friends Forever. But unlike Deviations, this is a blue blood who has fully leveled up his diplomacy, without Celestia ripping him away from his destiny. So blue blood opens up exactly how you want him to. Ripping on public transit and asking where the servants are. Ooh, that's my prince. So, I mean, we only see blue blood, like, the one time in Friendship is Magic, so we don't really get a good judge of his true character. And I think Whitley's cooking on this one. He comes off rather friendly, but I think it's just because he's among his peers, fellow royals who see the world his way. It's so funny that, as the princesses are flying away, Blue Blood just walks up to Shining Armor. Damn, bro, you got lucky. Your wife is smoking. At least that's what you think he means. Upon further inquiry, turns out Blue Blood doesn't give a damn how hot she is, just that she is a princess. Poor Rarity never stood a chance. I would have never talked to some disgusting, lowly orphan. God, I love this man. And then he hopped on his palanquin, and the two of them head off to Yakistan. Shining Armor's monologue to himself is pretty cringe. The coal puts a saddle on you and rides you every minute. Jesus. Whitley literally does the exact same thing in the Storm of Zephyr Heights with Hitch, though. It's crazy how we've gone full circle here. Oh, poor Blue Blood. He just wants one friend. But Shining Armor's got that main character energy. I don't ride on other ponies' backs. And I'm not gonna let you talk to the yaks. I have to do everything myself. After all, Celestia did just tell him to be himself. And then they get to Rutherford's throne room and, oh my god, Pony tried to do yak thing not perfectly. Brother, we had a whole episode about this. Blue Blood reminds you about it. You even say it went terribly. Yeah, who knows what's going on in Shining Armor's mind? He's literally just doing everything wrong, even though he acknowledged that it was the wrong thing to do. Bro is throwing hard. And then our savior, Prince Blue Blood, whips out his guide to diplomacy and tells us his secrets. And it basically comes down to two things. 1, pretend that you care. 2, don't bring up their culture at all. Bring up some other country's inferior culture and make fun of them. That's my prince. See, this was the problem with Blue Blood and Deviations. He hadn't developed that first rule yet. He didn't care, and ooh boy, he let it show. It's so funny that Shining Armor just gives up on the mission. Nah, surely Blue Blood can't make this any worse. I'm just gonna go to sleep. And yay, turns out Blue Blood saved the day. The relationship between Yakistan and the Crystal Empire is stronger than ever. And what's his reward for this? His goddamn palanquin is stuffed full of presents for Cadance. And now he has to walk back. Man's got a hard life. Blue Blood carried this story. Shining Armor, boo, get him off screen. I really just didn't care for anything that Shining Armor said or did. Like, wow. All it made me do was appreciate every moment that Blue Blood was on screen. Unfortunately, though, because the story is kind of focused around Shining Armor, the story kinda doesn't feel good either. It really just kind of feels like we're hanging out with Shining Armor for most of the story while nothing is really going on. But while I think hanging out with Shining Armor is really boring, hanging out with Blueblood and Rutherford? Ooh. But I mean, you can't really blame Shining Armor for, like, doing things the way he did. Twilight and Celestia spend the opening of the story fluffing him up. You're a born diplomat. Just do what comes naturally. That's what he tries to do. He just should have listened to himself and not Celestia when he knew that diplomacy was in fact not his strength. But yeah, Blueblood was awesome. I like Blueblood. Fun story when we're not focusing on Shining Armor. There are no art changes, so let's just go right to issue 27. Whoa, I was totally wrong. There are art changes for this issue. Totally slipped my mind. In a couple of these shots, I touched up the coloring on Cadance's hair, as well as Luna's amulet necklace thingy. That is all. Yeehaw! It's time to harvest some apples. But poor Granny Smith falls and breaks her hip, and now she can't help make cider. But no worries, cause Pinkie Pie is here to help! And yeah, TLDR, Pinkie Pie helps Granny Smith with her chores. In terms of events, there's not much actually going on. Very character dialogue driven story. But that dialogue does get very repetitive. How many times does Pinkie say, "Yes, Granny"? It's gotta be like 20 whole times. That's like all she says for the whole middle section. And also like just the actual plot line, I'm not too fond of. So Granny Smith is pissed that she's old and simply tripping over a rake, shattered her hip, and now she's out of commission for like a month. I'm following so far. And Pinkie Pie wants to pitch in and help because they're practically family. And Granny Smith lashes out at this because she doesn't want to feel like she's a burden. Until Pinkie Pie expresses interest that she genuinely wants to hang out with Granny Smith and help her and learn about Ponyville. And then Granny softens up. And then the story starts to take a turn that I don't really understand. So we now see Granny Smith and Pinkie Pie's relationship through Applejack's eyes. And the only thing Applejack has perceived in these past 2 weeks is that Granny Smith hates being around Pinkie Pie. Even though we, the reader, know that their relationship started to take an upward turn after they found the apple tree. And Applejack does what Applejack does best. She inserts herself to try to fix this problem, shares her honest opinion, and tells Pinkie Pie to not come around anymore, which makes both Granny Smith and Pinkie Pie sad. They liked what they had going on, but Applejack did not see it, which I totally understand why Applejack would do this. She perceives that Granny Smith is unhappy around Pinkie Pie, and she knows that Pinkie Pie derives her happiness from making other ponies happy. So the only logical way to make both parties happy is to separate them from each other. But she's sticking her nose where it doesn't belong, and in the end, Granny Smith accepts her role as the bad guy and apologizes to Pinkie Pie for her behavior, even though they were both perfectly happy with the relationship they had, and none of this falls back on Applejack. She just gets away with it. Man, imagine if Discord accepted that he and Fluttershy shouldn't actually hang out anymore. Whatever, man, SMH. There are no art changes for this comic. Alright, issue 28. Princess Celestia is holding a sleepover at Canterlot Castle, and the Crusaders are invited. But oh no, goddamn Yaks and the Griffins pissed each other off. I blame Blueblood. The fact that this war is happening literally right after he and Shining Armor get back from Yakistan, after Blueblood makes the comment about, "Oh, stupid little birds can't cook, lol." This is undoubtedly his fault. So Celestia's gotta go fix whatever this shit is, and leaves Luna in charge. Cause I mean, forget about her actual Princess of the Night nightmare dream duties. Pfft, she's got a sleepover to tend, baby. So Luna doesn't think, one, that, any of the Phillies want her to be here, and two, she's never had a sleepover because she doesn't have friends, poor Luna. But the psychotic, murderous rampage of Nightmare Moon has been long forgotten. And unless you were present in Ponyville for Nightmare Moon's return, you don't have anything against Princess Luna. She's worrying for nothing, which Celestia and the Phillies make very clear to her. I wish Celestia was in more comics. I really do like the dynamic between her and Luna, and I wish we got more of it. Well, mostly, I just really like making Celestia bully Luna. Anyway, Thestra. Thestra is getting bullied by these two dumbasses, and it makes her run off and cry. And now is the time for Luna's mentorship to shine. She gets a chance to be just like Star Swirl. She hears Thestra cry out, jumps right into the middle of the fray. But there's actually no monster. Thestra, she got lost, so she started crying. And, ooh, if you want Luna to fight a monster, she's got that covered. But, consoling a crying child? Yikes. Give that one to the Crusaders. Even though, like, it kind of is her job to, console ponies, you know, in their nightmares. But I guess, obsessive crying is where she draws that line. The phrasing unpleasantly moist is so funny. Turns out Thestra doesn't actually really need the Crusaders' help, though. She understands her cutie mark. She's just, being crucified for it. Goddamn demonic witch child. But then, bam! Now cue the giant monster for Luna to fight. Luna says many monsters roam the castle at night. What the hell is going on over there? This Mirror Orca is apparently a creature of chaos magic? Did Discord just, like, leave the door to his realm open? But fortunately, Thestra just so happens to have the perfect counter to this magical mirror whale. Could Luna have dealt with it? Certainly, yes. Literally all she needs to do is not try to kill it. Maybe, perhaps, I don't know, open a portal to Tartarus and throw it in there? Eternal banishment is the Canterlot way, after all. But no. Thestra's got this. She has a spell. Bam. Skin is transparent. And I don't know the theoretical physics on this, but if you turn down the opacity on a mirror, is it still a mirror, or is it a window? And in this case, it's a goddamn window. And Luna fucking destroys this thing, fucking shatters all of its bows. It is dead. It didn't do anything. Why did she just murder it on sight? Man, Miss Main would be so disappointed in Luna here. It's a good thing Whitley has not written Legends of Magic #3 yet. And TLDR, Luna learns that even though she is still trying to find her way, she can be a beacon of light for others who are also in the dark with her. And man, she really toasts Thestra. Who needs to feel valued more than the strange, creepy, and unusual? Girl's just got an X-ray spell. Does it make her a freak, man? And yeah, the end. Basically, like any other Jeremy Whitley story about Princess Luna, I greatly adore the way Luna is written here. The Crusaders, however, they didn't do shit. The story could have been perfectly fine without them. They, barely did anything. No, they helped Princess Luna with sleepover activities. You know what? You're goddamn right. This was a very fun story, though. I liked it. Art changes. There are art changes. In this shot here, Celestia and Luna's shoes do not have their outlines, so I threw them on. In this scene, Apple Bloom and Scootaloo's cutie marks are, swapped. Oops, I fixed them. In this panel, right after they jump off their tightrope walking thing, Sweetie Belle does not have her horn, so I threw that on. In this scene here, not an art change, a dialogue change. I don't often physically alter the text, but for this scene I made an exception. Luna originally says, "Show yourself, wicked denizen," but I really wanted to go foul creature mode, as a nod to Legends of Magic, which has not yet been written at the inception of this comic. It's what Star Swirl shouts when he jumps in front of Celestia and Luna to protect them. It's also what Celestia shouts after Star Swirl gets thrown through the mirror and she has to fight the shadows herself, while, Luna sits there and cries. I just thought it was a nice detail to add, and probably if Whitley wrote this after Legends of Magic, he would have gone foul creature mode here too. And lastly, when Thestra takes every pony to the bone zone, Luna's amulet necklace collar thingy accidentally got turned into bone. So I recolored it to be, black. And that is all I have to say on Friends Forever 28. Time for number 30. Twilight's in the Crystal Empire visiting Cadance. It is unclear what Flurry Heart's status is at this moment. This comic technically comes out after Flurry Heart's born, but she's not referenced, so Cadance is either about to burst, or Flurry's like 2 weeks old, who knows. Not important. Even though it kind of is very, relevant to what the comic's about, but anyway. There's some big event honoring Cadance in a couple days, and before that happens, Cadance wants to skulk around the marketplace and spy on her subjects. She's a little self-conscious about her role as a princess, and she wants to know what the general vibe is about her when she's not around. And that, horrendously backfires on her. So when the first pony goes off about how frickin' sweet and cool Twilight is, I don't quite get why Cadance interrupts him so immediately. All he said was, she's lovely. And then Cadance just like, nope, gotta go, bye. You can't really use his words against him. She didn't let him finish. But you know, the next guy, there's a little more smoke here. He sells costumes, knockoff costumes. He's got Sun Princess, Moon Princess, Friendship Princess, and Pretty Princess. Ah yes, Cadance's most defining feature distilled into one word. No way he could have called it Crystal Princess or Love Princess. Nah girl, she pretty. And then a group of fillies go buy some princess toys, and they want Celestia and Luna so they can control the sun and moon. Poor Luna, they don't care about her actual cutie mark ability of dreamwalking, just moving the moon, hell yeah. And they want Princess Twilight so they can have power over the elements of harmony. And ooh, they can't wait to get that Cadance toy so that they can play house and get married and have a baby. And Cadance just completely crashes out. Twilight almost gets Cadance to calm down, but then the two guys from the marketplace come up and want her to settle a dispute about their market stalls. So that's what they think Cadance's time is worth. And then the next guys come in and they're castle guards, and apparently one of them is stealing the other one's lunch. And just when Cadance is about to give her ruling, Shining Armor cuts her off and deals with the problem himself. So TLDR, Cadance is already feeling self-conscious, and then a bunch of ponies reinforce those feelings, and whenever she talks to Shining Armor or Twilight about it, they just, like, dismiss her feelings and try to fix the problem. Which, unfortunate for the Crystal Empire, the Crystal Heart's kind of connected to Cadance's feelings of light and love, and, she's not feeling the love. Which gives Twilight even more urgency to fix Cadance's problem. And then she gets it. It's not about fixing the problem, telling her that other ponies respect her. It's about showing Cadance that you love her. And then Twilight tells her what she loves about her. And Cadance feels better, the end. So the real big reason I wanted to read this comic was because Rise of Cadance. And this comic was actually recommended to me while I was working on it. It was the literal exact same thing that happened with Deviations. I was working on Deviations when someone was like, hey, what about Friends Forever 26 about Blue Blood? And I'm like, hell yes, I want to do that. But this isn't just another Cadance story, it's a Cadance story by the exact same author, Christina Rice. And the plot of this story actually ties into the opening of Rise of Cadance. Sometimes she doesn't feel worthy of her title and position, so she has to remind herself why she is. So that's cool. Anyway though, this was a nice little story about how not all problems need to be solved, sometimes you just gotta feel your feelings. Cadance didn't feel worthy of being a princess, and just because Twilight says, no, that's wrong, doesn't mean she doesn't feel that way still. And at the end of the day, the only thing that could really help Cadance feel better about herself was Twilight expressing her own feelings about Cadance, reminding her why she loves her. Which ties into the opening of Rise of Cadance, she has to remind herself why she's worthy of her title. In the way that Whitley almost exclusively writes Princess Luna stories, I wish Rice had more Cadance stories. I just like the continuity, you know? Which is why I had Luna go foul creature mode. The only thing I really wish the story did differently is how it follows Twilight. She's the character we focus on. Even though this is a story about Cadance, we only know what's going on with Cadance is by what she says to Twilight. Like, instead of seeing Twilight getting woken up by the Royal Guard and meeting up with Shining Armor, I wish we got to see Cadance's perspective of her night after Twilight left, as well as the moments leading up to the dedication. Instead of hanging out with Twilight and Shining Armor going, gee golly gosh, we gotta fix this, bro. What if we just gotta see what Cadance was doing and how she got to this point? I want to see her wallow in self-loathing. But nope, this is actually a Twilight story. And we have to follow Twilight as she tries to fix Cadance. All I'm really trying to say is, I need more Cadance in my life. Like, back when I was doing Legends of Magic, this was one of the alternate cover arts for, I don't know, what was it? Issue 9 maybe? But ever since I saw this Cadance art, I was like, I need Cadance comics. Like, besides this issue and Rise of Cadance, there's what? The two-parter about Shining Armor and Cadance dating in high school? And is it just her appearance in the season 10 finale? The one where she's like all cool and engages Danu, and she's all like, I am Miyamori Cadenza, Princess of Love! And then Danu just like rips open the ground beneath her and she falls to her doom, even though she's a fucking Pegasus and can fly. That is... You know, maybe Cadance is on to something when she feels she doesn't deserve her title. Oh, another thing I want to point out in this comic. I love that, despite how shitty she feels about herself, she makes sure she puts on her mascara so she looks pretty for the dedication. That's my princess. It is all she's good for, after all. God, I wish we got to see her crashing out while she put her makeup on. Alright, art changes. So in this scene here of Shining Armor dealing with the guards, I recolored his magic. I did not do this in issue 26 because he simply uses his magic way too often. But since this is the only scene he uses his magic in this story, I was like, okay, yeah, I could color correct it. In this shot here, Twilight has a facial tumor, and I just really wanted to remove it. And right here, something weird's going on with Shining Armor's chin. It wasn't vibing with me, so I just deleted it. And lastly, there's a couple shots of the Crystal Heart, and I just lowered the saturation to like show that it's fading, since Twilight points out that it looks duller, so I just helped show it. Man, Shining Armor got 2 stories here, and like, I don't like the way he's written in either one. What a useless guy, am I right? Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and until next time.